It's the After the Show podcast, precious.
We don't care, we're about to swear on the air. It's the After the Show, so tune in if you dare. KVJ, get your skate every single day. It's uncensored. We can say what we want to say.
Yeah, hello, and welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast for your Tuesday. Bird's got a nice little sweet lion hat on today.
King of the jungle over here.
Hey, he's looking fierce over there, man.
Good, my new alien shirt.
Yeah, you are popping.
I've got
all
on my
over the
Dickie
place.
Ranch shirt.
Oh, you do?
I
Okay.
do.
Oh, the old Dickie Ranch shirts.
Yeah.
That was fun, huh?
Couldn't let me have my fucking moment.
Couldn't.
Nope.
I had
Stepped
to
right
button-
on that.
Look, Kevin, who's your favorite co-host?
Oh, I mean, you're wearing my shirt, so.
I'm wearing his shirt.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What you got?
Yeah, it's got to be that's definitely a winner right there. Yeah. I got a bunch of emails to get to here on the show today. Thank you for all of your correspondence. Mail at kvjshow.com. We were talking about the little outbreak of measles. 5 kids at a school in Weston, elementary school, who got the measles. They say that whenever the vaccination rates dip below 95%, then you might start seeing some of them diseases. So some people might say that it's not getting our kids vaxxed. On the other side of the political aisle, it's because we're letting in too many illegals into the country. That's what Cheryl says. She said they're crossing into the U.S. and bam, all of a sudden, look, we've got more tuberculosis. We've got syphilis running crazy in Texas and New York. They're just running in here with all them damn diseases. So there you go. So, yeah, you know, everything is going to be. This is the thing. You know, even as we were talking about, to me, it's a good little PSA. I'm from that side of it, and yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like going, "Oh, you can tell it's a political year." They're just trying to hype up the concern and get everybody all worked up.
You can't tell it's a political year, though. You can
Well,
see it on social media.
Yeah,
People
it's
turn
just
dickier.
Well, it's tough. Look, I mean, I give full disclosure about my political stance and where I am. I'm an independent. I remain pretty moderate. I like to just try to be sensible, if that makes any sense. But if there's disease running around, I like to know about it. Unfortunately, I hate when everything gets so damn political.
Luckily, I don't think you're going to be banging any illegal immigrants, so you won't get that immigrant syphilis.
Well, not the syphilis. Yeah, thankfully I'm good on that. The measles, they say, just being in the vicinity with somebody. And there was somebody that was hacking up a lung in the hallway just a second ago.
Me and Kevin were in here. You could hear them through the wall.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it resonated. I'm like, oh my
It
gosh.
did, yeah. So I'm one of these people, look, I'm not trying to take any political stances on any of this bullshit, but, at the same time, I'm not looking to snag a case of the measles. So can somebody give me some unbiased information here just so I can keep myself disease-free? That's all a brother's looking for here. Is that too much to ask?
And if you got the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination back when you were a kid, do you need to get this booster? Or like if I'm out and about and I come across little measles Molly, am I going to get measles now because I'm so far removed from my vaccination?
I think we're okay because nobody really jumped on that. And in the stories that I saw today, and again, I tried to go to as many different places as I could to get the full story, but went to about 4 or 5 different places on this story with it, and nobody gave you that information. So, there's only so much time in the morning to get everything ready for the show. But, yeah, I don't know. So, whatever.
Let's talk rubella.
Yeah, I don't even know what that one is. Well, that's the thing that's kind of messed up. Like, we'd said earlier was the bubonic plague popped up, and I'm like, what? Bubonic plague? Like, some of these things I don't give it any thought because it's not something you need to give thought to. And then you find out all these, germy kids in Weston that got the measles. Be like, okay, what was measles again?
How are we with scurvy? Does that still affect? Can that
I think
affect?
that's more of a vitamin deficiency. That was the thing that would happen to sailors. That's why they would say to eat your lime. The British sailors, they would say eat lime and knock away the scurvy. That's why one of the nicknames for British is they call them limeys, because they'd be sucking on them lines trying to keep the scurvy away. And I think it was maybe a vitamin C deficiency. That's what that
Okay.
is. So it's not like you're going to walk down the hall and, oh my gosh, I caught a case of scurvy.
Okay, so scurvy's not a contagious
You're
thing.
on a boat, you're not getting the right vitamins.
Like an impetigo.
Yeah, like that. I don't know what that is. Scurvy, I think I got. Well, I mean, I understand it. I shouldn't say I got it. Yeah,
Don't
that's
say
not
I
the.
got
That was a terrible way to phrase
But
it.
what you're telling me is I can still get scurvy in modern day times. Is what it
Don't
sounds.
know. Well, I think any of these diseases you can still get. I think that is the lesson here, is that these diseases aren't necessarily eradicated. They're just, we put a lid on them. They're still kicking
Mumps.
around somewhere.
Mumps is still around.
Yeah, it still could be a thing, but, like leprosy. Believe it or not, leprosy is still a thing. You still to go to some parts of the world. I think like there's some African nations that still have issues with leprosy, where people's limbs are freaking falling off.
Damn.
And their skins are rotten because they don't, have the medicine that we do. So, yeah, I guess to kind of know it's all still there, but we've just got the medicines, if we take them, to suppress it. Dr. Astrid had said, yeah, the disease you're talking about, Savannah, because it's been several years since I was there and paid attention, probably about 7 years now. So the memories have faded a bit. But yeah, they had some diseases run rampant. I remember I was in a graveyard and they'd show where the bell was there, and they're like, yeah, and you could see it went down into the grave, and they tied, a little string on the finger of the person. And they said, yeah, maybe, or the killers in most of the coastal towns in America during the Revolutionary period was cholera and yellow fever. In Savannah, it was cholera, but I thought I remember the yellow fever coming up. They were talking about that. So could have been a bit of both, but yeah, it ran rampant through the town. And that's what they tell you if you do one of those. And they do those ghost tours through the graveyards. Savannah's got some cool, old-ass, spooky graveyards, man, with people buried from the Revolutionary War and whatnot.
Very haunted.
And sometimes
Yes,
you'll
you
get
love
a
it.
tour guide, and they'll just make stuff up.
Maybe, but we had one, I think his name was Skippy. And this guy had so much energy. He was so good. And I remember Skippy. I'm like, damn.
Full of facts, but are they?
Every time you
I don't
go,
know.
Skippy's got a different story. Hey, Skippy, how was your last night? You know.
Skippy, you said it was yellow fever last time, and now you say it's rubella. What is it?
That's why I always ask that question if there are tour guides or somebody that does like a Benihana thing where you're making food and you have to talk to a bunch of people or you're always shuffling in people. Sometimes people will go back to that thing a couple times within a weekend. Do you have to have backup acts for that? Backup routines? See what I'm saying?
I think that depending on where you go, you should look for Yelp reviews because there are various levels of tour guides. And this is a big thing in New Orleans. And I've heard podcasts of New Orleans tour guides talk about this, how they know there are certain people that do the tours that just make shit up as they go. And they'll point at a building and make up a whole big ass story about it with a ghost and a this and a that. And
Yeah.
none of it's true. They're just amusing themselves, making up colorful tales.
Yeah, I think the Skippy do, because I always do my research. I do my prep. So going into it, I kind of had an idea of what was up. And then after I heard the stories, I went back and checked.
And Skippy was right.
Skippy was on
Okay.
it. Yeah,
Okay,
he wasn't
all
telling me a
right.
bunch of bullshit because
It's in
it was fascinating stuff. Yeah, there's a house you can go to where I think the dude who owned the house was banging one of the slave mistresses, and the wife found out. And so right before a party, she does a header off of the balcony.
Oh,
Her
boy.
ghost is supposed to be running rampant through that place.
You don't kill yourself, you kill him.
I know, right?
Duh.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. There's like a pink hotel or something like that, and there's a ghost that's supposed to be in that, and I looked that up, and there's a story that goes behind that.
The other thing, too, is it'd be kind of maybe 20, 30 years ago you could get away with that shit. But nowadays, there are going to be Kevins out there that are going to research everything.
Yeah,
and
that's
you can't
it.
Fake a
Yeah, I
lot of
don't know
this
that you
shit.
can. Yeah, somebody going to call BS, and they're going to call the company. They're going to demand a refund, and then they're going to dink you on the ratings.
If it was a tour, like a legit
Yeah,
tour,
right.
yeah, they could do research on that. If
Yeah,
they
that's
find out
what
you're
I'd be
lying
doing.
and making shit up.
Yeah. Yeah, you get your ass busted now.
I think the podcast you're listening to might be making it up.
Savannah's a little different than New Orleans. It's a little looser there, too.
Savannah is.
No,
New
New
Orleans
Orleans,
is
is.
Yeah. It's because of the drinking.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, I know don't do any tours in New Orleans.
We'll do a reputable one. There are reputable ones.
Don't do the BOGOs.
Don't do the one that's like, half price.
Yeah. Get what you pay for.
Yes.
Yeah, on that whole thing, I couldn't remember what the term was. I thought it was a dead ringer when they would put the string on the finger and the bell would ring up there, and that's why they had. There's a whole bunch of terms. You had gravedigger shift. You had all those kind of like little things that kind of tied into this era. It's saved by the bell, not dead ringer. Saved by the bell is where that term came from because your life would be saved if they heard the bell ring. But could you imagine being in a graveyard in the middle of the night and you're ding, 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 ding?
But my whole question is,
terrifying.
Back then, how long would they wait before they'd bury somebody? Because I feel like someone would have to be legit out for more than a day to think they're dead.
No, what somebody was saying, because they had a disease outbreak, they were trying to get the bodies in the ground as fast as they could.
So no one else would catch it.
Yeah. So when the body is out, then you just gotta. That's the whole thing. That, in fact, I think it was. I can't remember if it was Savannah or it was another town, because I was reading so much about freaking disease today. But there was one town and a rampant fire broke loose. Maybe it was bubonic plague. And that's what eradicated it, because it burnt the disease out of it and all the things, because you would have rats that would have it and everything else. And it just, a fire is what took care of it. It basically cleansed the city, and that's what eradicated whatever the famine was, or not famine, but the disease that was running rampant. So that's why they would bury them so fast, because you had people dying of the cholera and the yellow fever, get them in the ground quick. And what it would do is they'd have shallow breathing and basically no pulse. And so they couldn't really tell.
That explains a lot to me.
So that's why they were doing it. They were just digging. And then I read something else. They'd said, it was fascinating. I don't know why I've been reading so much about death, but it was like wire grave 6 feet. And they found it was kind of like the perfect length. And it doesn't necessarily have to be 6 feet, but you got to keep in mind, you got a coffin that is so much, so they want so much space, like 2 feet. I think a coffin might take up 3 to 4 feet. And then they also did it where the gravedigger had to be able to get the dirt out of the hole, and they also still wanted to see the sunlight. They wanted to be able to get out with needing a ladder necessarily, so they could still kind of pull themselves up out of the hole.
Gotcha.
So 6 feet kind of became the standard depth for digging a grave. I was like, just fascinating stuff.
I'll tell you what term is kind of creepy. The term shallow grave. It's never good.
Yeah, well, that was it. The problems that they used to have in some societies, they weren't putting them deep enough, and then the animals get to them. Animals smell that, and they want to get a little meat or dig the bones up or whatever.
That's how they find a lot of abducted victims.
That's what. It's always a shallow grave.
They don't dig deep enough.
Because you're probably in a hurry.
So
Digging
what
a
are serial
6-foot
killer
grave.
What are you, lazy?
Yeah.
You lazy motherfucker. You put in all that work to hunt people down and kill them. Just dig yourself a deeper ass grave.
Some do.
I'm sure some have.
Put in the work.
But when we think about it, somebody who's trying to get out of there in a hurry, and especially if they're new to that.
Or paranoid.
Exactly. They are gonna, and some people may not even realize how deep 6 feet is. 6 feet, you gotta dig, man.
Yeah, no, you do. Yeah, you got to put it in there. Absolutely. Somebody said, you said slave mistress, more like rape. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
The slave mistress was not into it.
No. Yeah, that was, what a terrible existence.
And I mean, what you should do is you kill him.
Right. Everybody
then
need to kill that motherfucker.
You emancipate the slave mistress, and the two of you are
Right.
like,
Live a good
okay,
life.
let's party with all of his money in his house.
Wrong person died in that.
Amen.
Dead ringer is a horse racing term. They would rig betting by putting in what they called a ringer. People would think it was a slow horse, but they swapped it out for a fast one.
Oh, yeah.
It's slang for you would present a horse under a false name and pedigree. So that's kind of where that came from.
Ever since there's been sports, there's been someone trying to figure a way.
Yeah, you're right.
To get the edge up. Anytime you got competition and money, or even just winning.
Humans
You're gonna get
have
someone,
always tried to cheat.
I mean, let us not forget, we got weights and fish.
Right.
At that point, you go, people are They're fixing those kind of tournaments. They're putting weights
Yeah.
in fishes. They'll do it in anything.
But apparently the horse would look just like the slow-ass horse. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference looking at him.
It's a
Then all of a sudden-
look-alike.
Then all of a sudden it got on the track, and you're like, holy crap, man, how'd that horse get so fast? That's why you use dead ringer to say they're a dead ringer for so-and-so. They look just like them, but it's not them. So that's why we
Gotcha.
got that slang phrase from. Just dropping so much freaking knowledge on you
there
guys
is,
today.
man. Is there gonna be a quiz after this,
Just
Mr. Ralston?
So much stuff. Yeah, look out. Look out. Let me see. Also, Virginia was talking about trying to get Rocco to ride a bike today. One of the suggestions was those Trek bikes or bikes you can get without pedals is one way to teach them their balance.
But we already have a bike with pedals. That's the only thing. Like,
Yeah, a BMX guy said take the pedals off. That way they learn the balance. So
if
they
I
have
take
their
the
feet
pedals
to catch 'em.
off, do you think I'm smart enough to be able to put the pedals back on like they're supposed to go?
There's a part of me that thinks you think it's kind of a little pussy. I could see it in your eyes.
It is a little puss.
I saw it when that guy was explaining it on the phone earlier. I could tell Virginia was over it. She thought.
Yeah.
You're not 4, you're 8. Get your ass on the bike. Let's go.
Yeah, she said, we bought a Guardian brand bike, and my son learned in 2 hours. Take him to a soccer field, too, and teach him on the grass.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Okay.
I was kidding.
Take him to a soccer field during a soccer game.
Yes.
Look, if you can bike through a soccer game, you can bike through anything. I was kidding, but not kidding about going on the golf course. Kidding, you should definitely not do that. But have you ever ridden a bike on a golf course?
It's kind of peaceful.
It's so peaceful. It's fun.
Yeah, I've totally done that in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. I don't give a fuck.
The golfers must hate you.
They always do. Wait till my next stunt.
We're awaiting it. I can't wait.
I will. I'm moving my whole operation over to Uncle Jerry's house because he lives right by the tee box where they tee off.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
That's the good
that
location.
I
I mean, I've messed with them enough in my area. They're expecting it where I am, but they're not expecting it at Uncle Jerry's house on the tee box.
I'll tell you what's a good read. Seeing the one video she did that went viral on her Facebook fucking with the golfers and reading all the hate comments from golfers who don't know our show, who have no idea who Virginia
They're like,
is.
who is this dumb bitch that bought a house on the golf course and now is complaining about living on the golf course?
Oh, it was pretty comical. They were just so mad, Kevin.
I saw that one thing that Gen Z is doing is getting landlines. Kind of weird how they attract themselves to different things that we gave up on.
Landlines.
Yeah, they say it's kind of a hot new thing for Gen Zers to own landlines. I guess they like phones with cords because it's kind of a novelty. One girl said it makes her feel like she's on Sex in the City, and she likes the thrill of not knowing who's calling because it doesn't have caller ID.
All right.
Hey, live your life. Have fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
But Ryan from Lake Worth lets you know why that might be dumb. He said, my parents live in western Lake Worth near the Turnpike, and the entire area is notorious for poor cell phone service, including the 4G, 5G data network. And they've got a landline because it's the only way to stay in contact with the outside world during hurricanes. They said the old-fashioned wall phone is also nice for emergencies because you always know where it's at. And you don't have to mess around with any glitchy touchscreen while your hands are sweating and shaking. Okay, interesting. But an iguana recently chewed through an underground copper wire, and AT&T won't spend the tens of thousands of dollars to replace the entire line for one customer. So it's really kind of annoying. We've had the same phone number since 1994, and we're now scrambling to prevent it from getting reassigned.
Oh.
What a lot of people don't know is that old and still active phone numbers and social media accounts are considered gold for scammers. It's because those numbers generally have no record of being used for scams, unlike the sketchy numbers from TextNow and the other free app calling services. One of my friends recently had her 20-year-old cell phone number reassigned because she couldn't afford her phone bill. The number was unassigned after 90 days, and a scammer got a hold of her number. And they did a quick Google search to figure out who the previous owner was, what her email was, and wreaked havoc with her two-factor authentication.
Oh, that's what I went through. It is a nightmare, and it breaks the human spirit.
Her Facebook account was first to get hacked, and whoever took it over was pretending to be her and asking friends to send her money for a dire emergency. Luckily, they did not have access to really good voice AI software because they would have been able to call any of her friends and pretend to be her. I've seen that happen before, too, when somebody will impersonate somebody else with voice apps and do everything from scamming to call an untraceable bomb threats. Wow. So if anybody is thinking of getting rid of their old number because they're moving to a new area code or can't afford the monthly phone bill, make sure you unlink it from every account, including email, SunPass, banking, Uber, shopping apps, etc. And two-factor it to something else, because once somebody else gets your number, they basically have your entire digital life. That's crazy.
That two-way factor thing, I'm not kidding you. It will, if you have to go through it and you're not ready for it and you don't really understand it, you're getting a lot of bad news, and it's a lot of bad news.
We had somebody use that and jacked my son's Xbox account, all of his video games and everything, and they kept going in and they had whatever Apple Pay was, and we'd have to turn it off. And for some reason, my wife had it linked to every card that we have. Oh. So every store I'm walking into, they're like, nope, you're denied. Get out, fuckface. I'm like, I need gas. I just have to leave the car and walk home.
It was rough. I was out of my... It took me 4 weeks to get into my Apple account for anything I had in my... It was rough, man. And I didn't understand it. And I thought I was just going to go to the store and get it all just in one phone into the next, like I always do. And it wasn't working. It's like, so blah, blah, blah. And then he started explaining this two-way. I go, wait, what? I'm like, texting Denny. I go, what the fuck is he talking about?
Denny!
Yeah, dude.
Right.
It was rough.
What a crazy, I mean, it can be such a pain in the ass. Who wants to deal with it? My gosh. And then, yeah, you got so many accounts now, so many passwords. Ugh.
So many phone numbers. Shit.
Yeah, right. I mean, you've really set yourself up for disaster.
Just for the worst fucking situation.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I forgot about how many old phone numbers you
I
have.
feel like you're reading a lot of anxiety emails today.
Is it warm in here?
It is a little warm.
And Katie said, can somebody give me the best streaming formula so I get the best for my buck? Everyone, the streaming stings. There is no more piggybacking. Yeah, here's the thing that's going on. It's changing. Here's what's so messed up. Everybody's like, cut the cord. I'm so free. I only got the apps I want. And then all of a sudden you start taking on more and more apps, and then they start bundling themselves together. You know what it's turning back into? Cable.
It is.
It's turning back into fucking cable. You got away and you're like, oh, I'm so proud of myself. I cut the cord. Guess what, Einstein?
You bundled yourself right back into the cord.
Yes, you went right back into it. You're like,
you bundled douche.
Basically, you have to either go back to books or just fucking go back to bundling.
Yeah, because we didn't know. Well, when it comes to that, I did hear about that. One person was saying, get an idea of what you watch. Do almost like a diary somehow of how many hours you're spending watching a certain show. Do you watch Netflix the most? Well, when you're kind of doing things, do a little bit of a journal. I mean, if you really do care about the money that you're spending, ultimately what you do, see what you're watching, how long and how much it costs. And then that way you can figure out, okay, do you have Hulu? And you're like, going, when's the last time I watched Hulu? Well, if you have a little journal, you could tell yourself, you know what, I never watch Hulu. So I'd like to try to get rid of it. And I almost wonder if some of the bundling services, they're doing that because they realize, oh, man, we've got one that's lagging behind here.
We better bundle it.
Yeah, let's bundle it in here and throw it into a package deal that somebody gets. I mean, you think about the cable packages. Wasn't that what they were doing?
Totally.
They were throwing in maybe a Food Network or something that, okay, we knew we didn't have a lot of high numbers on it, so you throw it in with another package that people watch, or a channel like an ESPN we know people watch all the time.
Yeah, I think I'm going to journal. I think the first entry of my journal is going to be, why the fuck do I have Hulu? I like that.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. That's
you,
if you're trying to figure
you.
out what you want to keep, then they say that's how to do it. Because, yeah, right now I don't have strong recollection of what I'm watching. I think, okay, do I really watch Apple TV? How often? I don't know. Maybe there's a few things. I remember watching the morning show, but Other than that, and Severance, I don't know how much stuff I watched on Apple TV.
I haven't watched shit on Hulu.
Yeah. And here's another thing, too, to look at. And this is kind of a lesson looking at the most streamed shows of the last year. These are the Nielsen numbers that are out, and they're ranked by the minutes watched. You might want to go to a platform that has complete libraries of shows rather than, for instance, I've noticed with Apple TV, a lot of that is newer shows. Like I thought about the morning show. Now they're complete, and I think they've run the full gamut, but that's one of few. Severance, for instance, is a show that I picked up and started watching, and they've had other ones that didn't see the life of a second season. And I'm like, what the hell did I do, man? I invested all that time watching a first season, and they canceled the damn show.
I'm not going to lie. I think YouTube Premium's got a lot. Once you sign up for YouTube Premium, they got a shit ton of free movies. They've got series on there.
It's a great recommendation. You want to look for a platform that has a lot of that, because the thing they're finding by looking at the Nielsen numbers is people are spending the most time on shows that have full libraries, meaning they're complete. And the number one show, does anybody have a guess?
Yes.
What is it?
It is the one Suits.
Yes, Suits is number one. This is a show that wrapped up in 2019, and it premiered 12 years ago. 57.7 billion minutes watched over the last year, and it's on Netflix, and it has 8 seasons, and you know it's complete, and you're going to get the full story, and you just keep going through one solid episode after another. And honestly, I'm on season 5, I think it is, of 7 or 8. Solid.
I remember
it's still good.
That happened to me one time. I bought all of the Breaking Bad, but for whatever reason, they skipped 2 episodes. They didn't give me 2 episodes, and I could not get these 2 episodes. And it did. I wanted that completion. I felt like they edged me.
Yeah.
And I wanted it.
Mm-hmm. He wants it. You look at the ones that are doing well. NCIS was number 3. Grey's Anatomy, number 4. These are all complete. The Big Bang Theory was number 6. Gilmore Girls, number 7.
Completion.
For the most streamed shows. Friends, completion. Number 8. So, and Supernatural, Heartland, all those in the top 10. So, yeah, you're seeing that. That's what they're recommending. So, if you're looking for a platform, I would say, okay, who's got complete series in there? Because, like I said, I need to do a real deep dive. But my feeling is Apple TV and Amazon, also, those are where you're seeing a lot of newly launched. HBO's been around for a while. Keep in mind, The Sopranos is, 20 years old? That's a complete series. So they've been doing it a lot longer in some of the streaming services. So HBO, I think, has more complete series that you can go and watch.
Do you have the Amazon Prime Video?
I do. It's not a choice. It's more because of the shopping, but you get it for free. So, but honestly, there's some stuff on there that I have watched and enjoyed. I think The Reacher might be on there, and I like that.
Have you heard of this one?
They had the Jack Ryan.
Graves End.
I've not heard of that. What is that?
So these guys were at the Taste of Little Italy on Friday night.
Okay.
And it is like a whole mafia thing. Like it's a new, like a Sopranos kind of thing.
Huh.
And
And you
all
think
these
they
guys
thought
were
people
there.
at the Taste would like that?
This guy was there. This guy was there.
We need to find our target market. Where can we get a large congregation of New York Italians?
You know who else is in it? Andrew Dice Clay,
Yeah.
Fran Drescher,
Okay. Oh, geez. That's a
Chaz
good cast for that.
Palminteri.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a great
that is a good
cast for that.
cast.
And William DeMeo is
what-
the one that wrote it and
What
stars in it.
platform?
That's on Amazon.
That might be
damn.
good. That could be good.
Okay.
You should watch it.
You would have to have shitty writers if it's not good.
Agreed.
He wrote it. This guy. Because he was there. We were talking
I
about
don't know who
it.
that guy is.
William DeMeo.
Well, now William DeMeo knows that Kevin, if he doesn't like it, Kevin's calling him a shitty writer.
Yeah.
And Kevin's gonna get his.
And then I'll get capped.
Kevin's gonna get capped.
In real life.
Yes. Right.
Oh, my movie.
Yeah, maybe don't criticize the Mafia creator.
No.
I should go after the creator of Bluey.
It's the story of 1980s Brooklyn.
Oh, I mean that's right up my
Oh,
alley.
that's so good, right?
Yeah, that's that. I do like that.
Okay, yeah, that could be good. Yeah, always good looking for some new stuff. Somebody looking for a little advice here on their last day. They found out I'm getting laid off from a company I loved and worked for 7 years. I love my job, but it's unique, so it's going to take some time to find a new one. My severance package is going to keep me afloat for months, so I'm not too worried about the money. But my question is, what did you all do after leaving Miami before starting at WRMF? I am extremely sad, and I feel useless and lost.
I felt the same way.
Today's my last day, and I'd love some encouragement.
I turned to pills and alcohol.
Okay, you could go that route.
I turned it to learning some more music and trying to. I mean, it was really 3 months off that we hadn't had in a long time. It went from going fast into really nothing. So me and Denny stayed, and we took time to really learn some new instruments and kind of channeled it that way.
Yeah.
So that's a positive way. I mean, I'm sure we were doing alcohol as well and some pot. But I think if you have some time to take for yourself, maybe try to learn something that you've been wanting to learn.
I've done it once the wrong way. I've done it once the right way. After the Miami thing, learning from previously in my life and career, doing it the wrong way. Every day I go up and do something of self-worth. So for me, a lot of it was I knew I had a very strong feeling that KVJ was going to come back. So it was a chance for me to really look under the hood of everything we did, have done, and to really start mapping out what we were going to do. So every day I would just pretty much try to put in a full day's worth of work going through stuff like that. You often have things that pile up and they get neglected. That's the time that you go through it. So that was plan A. Plan B, I've also got a reading list of books I'd like to read. I never have time to. So that was the recreational part of it. So always trying to do something where you feel like you're adding to yourself and you're improving upon yourself, even though you're not working at a job. Doing that made my self-worth and esteem stay up.
I remember, and I don't know if we ever talked about it, and if we did, I don't remember. But remember when there was the press conference when we first got back, and it was. What, do you remember what happened with that? I remember there was something that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, it was. It was the timing on it. We had to wait until a certain time. We were coming on the first time we possibly could, and the company that still owned our rights, they hit us with a cease and desist, and they said that if you guys go on, we're going to sue you, and then we'll take back because we had a little bit of time there for the rest of the severance. So it was 3 months. Kind of like this person where, we were getting paid.
But did we call a press conference and then the news came
Yes.
and then we didn't show up? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, we tried to call them and let them know that we couldn't. That became a story, and we had to let them know. And there were people that had shown up because we couldn't. It was last minute.
They
called up, and our agent was on it. Yeah, and that kind of started the beginning of the end with our agent that we had at the time. I was like, this is your job, to let me know of legal pitfalls like this and not let me step in it like I stepped in it. And that's what I pay you for. And so I was very upset with our agent with that. And our agent didn't last much longer after that.
Do you remember that? Or
that reason.
I do.
Did you block that out?
No, I remember. And I remember being very confused because we had called all the TV stations, and they all were either there already or en route. And it was all like personal connections. So I'm on the phone with the Jay Cashmere's and the Felicia Rodriguez's.
And then we ghosted everybody because we had to.
Guys, bad
We'd
news.
have lost a ton of money. Yeah. And we would, and not to mention what we would have lost realistically. Just being in court and paying for attorneys.
For sure.
It would have cost us a shit ton of money. And so, so basically what happened was we had to eat it, look like fools, and then, like I said, shortly after I fired our agent. RJ said, "Do you have a new agent?" No, we didn't pick up an agent. I said, you know what? I had agents pretty much the whole time I've been in West Palm, and I was hard pressed to find what they had ever really done for me.
Other than take your monthly payment.
Right. So I was like, no, we're good. So we work without an agent now.
I
currently
love it.
We negotiated our own deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why get an agent when you work with a gremlin like Virginia? Very aggressive. Gets what she wants.
So that's what it was. So I think if you do something like that, take a hobby, work on a skill. If there was ever something that you thought you'd like to do, learn another language, take your time to do that. Go out, spend a lot of time in nature. Walk on the beaches, enjoy the beautiful weather we have right now, things like that. All those kind of things, and make sure you get a good night of sleep and eat decent food, and that will help your mental health, your self-esteem, and you'll hopefully enjoy your time off.
Skills, not pills. Kevin did it right.
Mm-hmm. There you go. That's a good little slogan there, Virginia.
Some people can live in both worlds.
A couple other questions. Jeremy says, I started listening to some of your old shows from 2019. I think you should bring back Ask Us a Question, where if you can't answer, we win tickets, and bring back Shout It Out. By the way, Virginia is hilarious. I think it was Ask Us Anything. And yeah, that's just one of those segments that you hit a wall with it pretty quick because you start recycling questions. And
they're never hard hitting enough.
Yeah, you get that. It's kind of like a what did I lick and all that stuff, where it just either we're not going to go there, or it's just too predictable. So you got to bury it for a while, and then one day eventually when people forget it, like I almost forgot what it was.
What's Shout It Out?
I forgot it. I don't know. I have no idea what Shout It Out is. I have no clues. Anybody know what that bit was?
Shout it out.
I don't even remember.
It sounds fun. I like shouting.
I do too. I honestly do not remember that.
Everybody knows you love shouting.
I talk. But honestly, with that said, the fucking nerve on you to ever call anybody out about the volume of a voice is insane.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, my friend whispers over here. Good gosh.
One person said, when are you going back to Plead the Fifth? Again, kind of on the same thing, but you see, like, Ask Us Anything, Plead the Fifth. It was
kind of
all
the same.
Tough questions, trying to get prying stuff. And yeah, I know, you always have new audience, but it's tough to kind of go back. So we let them rest for a while, and then maybe new things will come up and life goes by. I mean, headphone karaoke, we'd buried that for 10 years?
Yeah.
Theoretically, it really
It's
didn't come
been a
back.
minute.
It's back.
And we're kind of doing that again. So
It was saved by the bell.
yes, there you go, Virginia.
It sounds
Full
like
circle.
Shout It Out might be too, if we can ever figure
What do you
out
mean?
the fuck it's
We
called.
just got to know what Shout It Out is.
Yeah. Can that person that wrote that please give us a short 2-line description of what Shout It Out was?
Yeah.
From what I hear, not only is the bit hilarious, so is Virginia.
Yeah, so is Virginia. So hilarious. All right, you got any other questions? You can always hit us up, mail at kvjshow.com, mail at kvjshow.com. Y'all enjoy your day. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.